Yu-Gi-Oh is a constant game that players are always trying to get the one-up and just stay ahead of the competition and things that they should be investing in. Much like Bruce's GMs. Today we're going to be looking at possible investments that you should be making in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because the cards are really all that cheap, or they're just honestly things that I think you should have laying around at this stage in the game. And other possibilities coming out in the near future, depending on how prices are looking, that you should probably consider picking up. And remember, do not invest in Bruce's GMs. These look absolutely disgusting. Alright, let's move into this discussion, shall we? The way that the game has been shaping up, a lot of the older themes have kind of been going to the wayside a little bit, which means prices are getting cheaper. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily have the money to adapt towards the mentality of literally having play sets of everything. But there are some stuff out there that is just so damn cheap that if you want to spend money just to have it, you know, you might win the lottery a little bit. And that's what this session is going to be about. So first off, we're going to touch on Paleozoic. Now, we're not going to talk about Ultimate Swap Frogs. No, we're not going to talk about, you know, the finer things in life. We're going to talk about the Paleozoic side of things. Now, most Paleozoic super rares have been spread out across OTS packs as of late. In the way that these have been looking for many players, they're relatively cheap. Now, a Paleozoic core doesn't necessarily include swap frogs, dupe frogs. You know, looking at the trap side of things, I have seen most of these supers going anywhere from 50 cents to $1. That is change on the dollar. You can pick up playsets, everything, whether or not it be good or bad, for about $30, and there's no repercussions. Now, I've heard several people looking at this and being like, well, hey, you know, Paleozoic has to eventually get support. Well, yes and no. Paleo was one of the Korean imports that the Korean side of the game designed. So I assume that they will get support at some point, just kind of touch on them a little bit, but because of their origins, it's a little bit less likely. But in terms of just a hell of a damn good engine, a year or so down the line, you might be looking at these Paleo cards going up, whether or not there just be some new boring interaction that they've got going for them, or something broken. But they do have some of the best archetype disposal support at their hands. And based on the current market prices and trends and availability to you as a player, take advantage of it. You know, Totally Awesome's not going to get limited anytime soon in the TCG. The card's good, but when I say good, it's not broken. You know, there's that flat borderline of insanely broken, and then there's the one-for-one trade that, well, is totally awesome, that takes a card. But depending on how the situation goes, things like that, Paleo's supers are one of the honestly safest investments as a player that you can be picking up in today's day and age. So, not really anything too strange to be saying here. I've seen a lot of people talk about this. I definitely think we're at the stage now to where we can actually agree on this. Next up, ABC. Now, we're not talking about the super rare ABC. We're talking about 3 super union hanger. We're going to talk about the secret A, B, and C pieces and Dragon Buster. Now, I've seen the pieces fluctuating between the two to, well, I think at the top of their line they were like $4, you know. Given this is another one of those, you got $30, you want to pick it up, you know, there might be some sort of cheese later on down the line. Firewall Dragon isn't the only intolerable, you know, asshole in the room right now. You know, the ABC engine, it's got everything it's had going for it for the longest time. Now, I don't mean that to be disrespectful to Dragon Buster. We've always known he's been an asshole. But the engine is still at full power. You've still got 3 Terraform, you've still got 3 Union Hanger, you've still got 3 of each piece, you've still got 3 Dragon Buster. You know, the only thing you've lost was Destrudo, but the core base of the deck itself is all still intact. You have lost absolutely nothing throughout the embossed echo of time. And I don't think it's a bad thing to once again pick up max rarity ABC core just to have it, because of how much of it is out there now. Was it the Legendary Collection snuck out an unlimited printing? So I mean, I guess you can pick them up. But once again, the flip side of this equation is 2 years down the line, those secret rare pieces might be worth $4 to $5 a piece. You know, it's within the grand scheme of things. It's one of those, hey, I spent $30 now, my investment turned into $60. And it's just another one of those very solid, hey, you know, I might play this. You know, this deck is still doing stuff every blue moon. You know, once the meta slows down, you'll probably be looking at another situation where you'll be able to play this deck again. Once again, it's another one of those, the deck is on the lower tier, the lower tier spectrum, and we'll still see play, and it's extremely cheap. So, just my 2 cents on that. Later on, what is it, at the end of the month here, Battles of a Legend comes out. And I believe, actually, I don't think it's at the end of the month here. You're going to be seeing a lot of newer stuff kind of roll out in there. I think there was like Orgoth the Relentless, things like the Time Lords. Now, I'm not a super big fan of the Time Lords for competitive play, but they've definitely shown that they're continuing to support the Time Lords. I don't know if we're caught up at the end of this with every Time Lord that's out there, but in terms of a super fun casual aspect, you know, the Time Lords, they're cheeky, and that's all I'm really going to say. I don't think there will be a tier 1 broken deck with Time Lords, but if there were ever a lot of cards that I would be using as side deck staples between Zaphion, what is it, some of the ones that do monsters, I think there's one that removes shit from the opponent's graveyard. In terms of just having a toolbox of stuff, it's going to be like 25 cents. You know, pick up your playsets of Time Lords. You never know what the fuck is going to happen in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, I make this joke all the time. It's like, you never know what's going to happen, you know. It's the damn truth, you know. Time Lords are one of those, fucking, it's not $30. I think you could probably pick up playsets of every reprinted Time Lord in the next set, along with the new ones, for probably a couple cents. You know, I don't even see anything being too major in there. And you know what, if you want to go to locals and play discount lots and lots of trains without the trains, more of the Time Lords, more power to you. But the Time Lords have always been one of those, quite possibly an interesting side deck lot, depending on where the format's going. So just some consideration to that. That's more my casual side, but you never know when another Time Lord is going to come up and be absolutely relevant. Now, the last one I want to talk about here for this video is going to be Invoked. So first off, Invoked is getting the reprints very soon. I've seen Ultimate Invocations hitting that fresh $30 line. You know what that means? I've also heard should we invest in those? You know, $30 is kind of low. Kind of like Deco Talkers hitting like the $20 line. If we've learned anything with Swap Frog and his ultimate rare form, you have something like Ultimate Invocation hitting the lower line, you probably should give it some consideration and pick them up. Worst comes to worst, that $90 turns into $120. You know, they were 43 lowest at one point, but the Invoked engine post reprint will be very affordable to many players. Even now, if you've got somebody that you know is trying to fire sell this just to get rid of it, I would give it some mass consideration, just to picking up, not having it. I understand that there is no interactivity right now in the current game with wanting to play it without the Alistair Link monster, but we are getting it at some point with the reprints. Just clarifying that. I made myself sound massively unintelligent there for a second. You know, we are going to get them simultaneously together. We're expecting them. Pretty sure Macabre is getting the reprint with this. But people love to fire sell shit. And I think even if you pick up the stuff now, or you know, you go after the Holy Grail, the Ultimate Invocations, I think Invoked is something that you probably should have laying around. I I hate Invoked for what it is, but I'm not going to preach and say that it's not good. Because, quite honestly, it's a lot better than a majority of the other decks and engines in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, just my 2 cents there. I'm not saying go out and spend retail on Invoked right now. That's not the play at all. I'm saying if you can pick it up at a decently more affordable rate, or just, putting the seed in your head that when it does get the reprint, go for it. I definitely will be doing so. I moved my higher rarity Invoke stuff. I'm considering picking up Ultimate Invocations at this point in time just because of how cheap they are. Yeah, I do follow my own advice, contrary to popular belief. Just like yam in a can. Ugh, so bad. Well, that's all I got for this video in terms of discussions. I know those are only 4 points, but they are things that you should massively consider at the moment. I'm sweating my ass off in this video. You can't see the sweat because my fat absorbs the sweat. Yeah, we're on a whole nother level of fatception today. Alright guys, until tomorrow's discussion video, Deucerinos, my audience arena. The ride never ends, guys. Make sure you enable those notifications to get the latest videos that are being posted on this channel. Make sure you guys check out VanCole40 for my Cardfight Vanguard channel. And join me and House of Champions on the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. We'll be interacting with our audiences. And please check out No Limit Gaming and LGTCG.com for the cheapest trading cards on the market. Thanks for watching, guys, and please have a good day.